So I'm going to continue with the Manual for Teachers, Section 1, Trust. Today I'm going to go to paragraph 2. And paragraph 2 says, when this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. Who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given him? And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? What is it that induces them to make this shift? Three really good questions. So, starting out with paragraph 2, when this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. So, this power that he's talking about is from the last sentence in the first paragraph, and that is, it is through this power, the power that is in you but not of you. It is through this power that the teachers of God look on a forgiven world. So when this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. So this is recognizing again that I do not know what anything is for. And if I trust in my own strength, I'm trusting in the past because my own strength comes from my idea of how things should be. And it's never, the ego doesn't know the present moment. And the only way that I can experience this power to look on a forgiven world is to be in the present moment with my inner teacher, which I choose to call the Holy Spirit. So, and once this has been experienced, once we step back and let Him lead the way, Him, capital H, Him would be your inner teacher, Holy Spirit, inner guide, whatever works for you. Um, the light in you steps forward. That's what the Course tells us. The light in you steps forward when you step back. So when we step back, there's nothing but truth. And we see with Christ's vision rather than the body's eyes. And all that means is I'm not believing what my thoughts are telling me anymore. I'm experiencing a presence. I'm being just that space where I'm listening. I'm not reacting. I'm not judging. I'm just observing. And that's in every situation that I'm in my life. And this is a moment to moment practice. This takes practice. This takes vigilance. This takes patience. Um, and when we experience this, it's impossible to trust our own petty strength again. And it kind of reminds me of the early lessons in lesson, it's 47 and 48. God is the strength in which I trust. Let's see, we'll go there. Okay, so yeah, 47 is God is the strength in which I trust. And this is telling us really in the first paragraph that if you are trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? And these are all more questions. And when I read a paragraph that's full of questions, which are like these two I just read, this is when we're being asked to question every value that we hold and being asked to question, what do I really know? And what do I really want? Do I want to be right or happy? I really don't know anything or what anything is for. And that's why I trust the Holy Spirit. And what is there in you that can be counted on? Only the Holy Spirit, only my inner guide, only this present moment. And then in lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. And he tells us in paragraph 3, which is the last paragraph, I think it's interesting that in lesson 47, God is the strength in which I trust. I just read the first paragraph, and lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. The last paragraph says the same exact thing. The presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. And the presence of fear is the presence of the ego thought system. It's believing in the ego thought system that is quite literally a fearful thought. So the awareness that there is nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, though not necessarily in a place you recognize as yet, you have remembered God and let his strength take the place of your weakness. The instant that you are willing to do this, there is indeed nothing to fear. So we're recognizing that there is nothing to fear when we recognize that we know nothing and we don't trust in our own strength. Our own strength is our weakness. And he tells us that in the lesson, I think it's 153. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Defenselessness is strength. Defensiveness is weakness. So it's always saying the same thing in different words, reminding us of where our true safety and strength lies. And and this is moment to moment. This is recognizing that I trust in the Holy Spirit, in the inner guide. And then he tells us, who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given him? So there we go again. And he's telling us, why would I fly with the tiny wings of the ego thought system when the mighty power of the Holy Spirit has been given me? When that inner strength, that inner power, the higher power, as AA would say, why would I listen to anything else? The only reason I would listen to anything else is because I'm not willing to let go of my old beliefs. And I want to hold on to Karen as a character here in the dream who I think is special. And when I'm willing to let go of that specialness and see that if I think I'm special, then I have to see everyone else is special. Everyone is special, or no one is special. This is what the Course is teaching us, that we're all the same. And when I see differences, this is where the conflict starts. And this is where the trust gets misplaced. And then I'm trusting in my own strength. And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? Well, who would do that would be someone who is in fear, someone who is not ready to let go, not ready to, is afraid of the truth, is afraid of love, is afraid to let their guard down. And that's someone who evidently has been hurt. And the way that we heal the hurt is to look at it. And when we look at it, that's the first step in forgiveness. So we look at the hurt and we don't judge ourselves for it. We see that, it was a belief that we thought was real, and that, yes, whatever incident may have happened that seemed to hurt me happened, and it's not happening now. The past is over. It can touch me not. I can continue to live this past on into the present, or I can let it go. And this is not always easy. And this is something that it took me years to overcome with the guilt that I felt over my husband's suicide. I relived the guilt that I felt for years, over and over and over again. I was so stuck in believing it was real until I got sick and tired of being sick. Another AA phrase that really helped me, because I wanted to heal. I was ready to heal. I was ready to let it go. And once I was ready to let it go and surrender, that's when the healing occurred. And that's when I really realized I would rather be happy than right, and be willing to be wrong. And it takes what it takes. And no, there's no right or wrong, and there's no race. You get there when you get there, and every little step that you take to get there is perfect. But just know that you will get there, when you're ready to let the past go and recognize that it's over and it can touch you not. And the gifts of God are laid before you now. The healing is for right in this instant now, in the holy instant. Healing occurs in the present moment when you're ready to receive the gifts of God. And the very last question, what is it that induces them to make the shifts? This is where we go into trust. Trusting the Holy Spirit is what induces us to make the shift, because we shift from the faith in the ego thought system of fear and unworthiness to faith in the thought system of the Holy Spirit, which is love and forgiveness. And this leads us into the development of trust that I think I'm going to continue with next, but I'm going to do small increments. Um, so I'm very grateful for this, for trusting. And today is a day where I'm willing to trust in the strength of the Holy Spirit in my mind. And that is my wish for you as well. Have a great day. See you next time.